The financial impact of the political turmoil in Ukraine.
Yeah, as you've been saying, we know that the EU has already imposed sanctions against some Ukrainian officials, and now they're facing their second credit rating downgrade in less than a month. Standard & Poor's has cut Kiev's credit rating from CCC plus to CCC. That is the sixth lowest junk rating, so pretty near rock bottom, you might say. S&P lowered it already from the BBB range in late January as that political turmoil escalated. The ratings agency has kept Kiev at a negative outlook, which means that they don't think things will be stabilizing anytime soon.
And let's move on to this $19 billion deal that sent shockwaves across Silicon Valley. It's a deal between Facebook and WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's really still reverberating in Silicon Valley because it's of the really enormous price tag. A lot of analysts are wondering if it's really worth $19 billion for an app that is only 4 years old. So is it a strategic move or a stumble by Facebook? Delano D'Souza has been looking at it.
An expensive bet to highlight a change in strategy. Facebook's $19 billion acquisition of WhatsApp shows just how important it views mobile messaging, a business that shaved off profits from telecom companies globally.
It's a huge business with north of $100 billion a year, eating into the telecoms and the other native applications on iOS and Android, for example. And so they're entering a space where they have very little presence.
Many of WhatsApp's rivals in Asia have found ways to diversify their offerings. Line from Japan, with 300 million users, sells digital stickers to share with friends. China's WeChat has become the country's leading messaging app. Most of its revenues come from games. The company recently added a payment feature similar to PayPal. Israel-based Viber offers free internet phone calls to 280 million global users. Last week, the company was picked up by Japanese retail giant Rakuten for $900 million. Analysts believe Facebook was protecting itself when it decided to acquire WhatsApp.
It's a defensive decision. Keep it away from Google, keep it away from Apple, and make sure that you don't keep losing teens and keep losing engagement, which is the existential threat for Facebook.
How Facebook plans to recover its investment is not quite clear. For now, the company has direct access to WhatsApp's 450 million users.
Now, Facebook shares did hit a new high during Thursday's trading. They fell in the initial aftermath of that announcement as investors feared that the deal had been overvalued, but they rallied and closed up over 2% on Thursday. Wall Street also climbing on Thursday as data showed that the U.S. manufacturing activity had hit its highest level in nearly 4 years. After a rocky day of trading, the major indices ended near record highs. Asian markets mostly following that positive trend, the Nikkei leading gains, jumping around 3%. SoftBank and Panasonic are among the top gainers on the Nikkei, each rising about 3% as well.
Now, Kate, the global economy will take centre stage this weekend as G20 finance ministers gather in Australia. What are we expecting to hear?
A very cautious message of optimism, really. Ministers are expected to warn that while we are seeing signs of a very slow and gradual recovery in many of the major economies, that trend is indeed very fragile. Now, British Finance Minister George Osborne, who's on his way to Sydney, is among those warning that global growth could be affected by volatility in just one country, and he's got his eye on emerging markets.
The risks to the economic recovery have not gone away. Together, we need to act now to ensure that the emerging market problems don't contribute to a new crisis. And how do we do that? By each one of us putting our own houses in order, and by using the G20 to make sure we all confront our problems instead of running away from them.
All right, let's go through today's other business news, starting with a surprise boost in PC sales.
Yeah, Hewlett-Packard saw an unexpected surge in sales of its personal computers in the first quarter, up 4%, bucking a negative global trend. HP's net income for the 3 months ending in January also rose 16%, but the outlook for the rest of the year is much weaker.
The British high street chemist Boots is to start selling e-cigarettes this Monday. It struck a deal to provide the Puretain brand made by Imperial Tobacco, even though the product is not regulated as medicine. It could be a boost for the e-cigarette industry, estimated to be worth $3 billion worldwide.
And major changes afoot at the Royal Bank of Scotland. According to the Financial Times, it's going to slash some 30,000 jobs in the coming years as it transitions to become a much smaller commercial and retail bank. The bank is currently 81% owned by the government and employs about 120,000 staff.
And that wraps up the France 24 business news. Thank you very much, Kate Moody, for that. And it's time now for the press review right here on France 24. Nick Rushworth is here with me in the studio.